So I left you on a cliffhanger that last stage. It just felt right. I don't honestly know the next words out of my mouth. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and it's just kind of coming out. Throughout this series, my intention was to draw parallels between competitive cycling and my cancer battle, because that was my frame of mind going into it, and how I kind of competitively battled it myself and my outlook on it, and how I compartmentalize things, and honestly how I drew confidence in it. I was never the greatest cyclist in the world. I'm no Lance Armstrong. I didn't win a whole lot of races. My proudest aspects of my cycling years was just showing up, just starting, because I started as a very shy, thin kid, with confidence issues. I was nervous a lot, and I conquered that. That's what I draw inspiration from. To look back at a 14-year-old kid who's scared to death of a lot of things. But it's not just cycling. It could be football and the Hail Mary pass. It's just kind of a wing and a prayer. And I said a lot of Hail Marys during this time. The Catholic boy in me came out strong. I'd find myself up having anxiety in the middle of the night, and I would say the All Father and the Hail Mary repeatedly until I fell back to sleep. Which brings me back to my cliffhanger. What did we do next? Well, that's a discussion I had with Dr. Portnoy, and he suggested doing a trial. And a trial is basically trying something that's never really been tried before, or something that is in the process of getting approved. I asked him, isn't that sort of like a last resort? And he said, we don't look at it that way anymore. He mentioned two places. One was St. Louis and one was in Nashville. And keep in mind, I'm in Memphis. Nashville's a lot closer than St. Louis. But he mentioned a doctor, Dr. Van Tine, who is part of a sarcoma clinic in St. Louis. And that's all they see is sarcoma patients. And I'm thinking, how in the world am I going to go to St. Louis to get treatment? It's 4 or 5 hours away. But seeing that, what I'm up against, it is a last resort, So I asked him what would he do, St. Louis or Nashville? And he said St. Louis. And that's what I did. I went to see Dr. Van Tine in St. Louis. At this point, the cancer was spreading. I now had suspicious lesions on my spine. I had a mass in my upper body, in addition to a few more in my lungs. So let's do it. I go see Dr. Van Tine. He's doing an immunotherapy trial that I qualified for. And I would have to go to St. Louis once a month for the next 2 years. Sometimes twice a month in the beginning. And it would be an infusion much like chemo is, but immunotherapy is not necessarily the type of drug with the type of side effects generally that chemo would have. And everyone in this trial would basically do the same thing. We all had sarcomas, we all had different types of sarcomas, and this was a one type of immunotherapy drug and treatment regimen that we're all taking, and good luck. I would get scans every 6 weeks. And 6 weeks after my first scan, I'm in the waiting room with Dr. Van Tine. My brother came with me, and we were waiting, and Dr. Van Tine walks in with a sheet of paper. And when you're going through this, you look at every clue and every word your doctor says, every facial expression he makes, whether he walks in with a sheet of paper, whether he doesn't. You're reading into everything, and I'm thinking, what does that sheet of paper mean? And he says, how are you doing? I said, well, I feel good. Minimal side effects. My hair's not falling out, so I can't complain. And he says, well, you're about to feel a lot better. And I looked at my brother, and I was thinking, did he just say that? Because I haven't heard that in a long time. He showed me a chart and basically an x-ray of my lungs. And he says, your lesions have decreased 20%, which is a significant amount in 6 weeks. Not to mention the fact that they shrunk at all, And I was like, thank God, finally something. So this was very promising. Really felt good about that. I'm getting chills thinking about it right now. Because it felt like I was gaining time back. It felt like I was reversing the effects. It felt like I had a chance again. So, let's see what happens next scan. And we will go over that in stage 9. Let's go!